Okay, I'm going to kick off today's session. Welcome, everybody. I'm really pleased you could make it. And for people who are watching later, welcome to you too. Um, I'm joined with Sarah Pattison here today, and I'm going to talk about some strategies for how to engage students in live online sessions, looking at how to develop focus, interaction, collaboration with the TEL tools. And we'll be taking a particular look at Vevox and Zoom today. So over the last couple of weeks, the TEL Department of Technology Enhanced Learning, have delivered some very insightful and comprehensive talks on aspects of online learning. Today, I'm going to demonstrate some of those tools in action to give you a sense of what it feels like as the learner to experience those tools. Now, this session isn't exhaustive. It's more to inspire you and to hopefully give you some ideas about how you might use the tools in order to create more collaboration. And excuse me, one of the joys of doing a live presentation is that you do have social presence. And one of the drawbacks is if the presenter is nervous, as I am, it might lead to a little bit of stuttering, but we'll see how we go. So today, some housekeeping notes. The session is being recorded. It is also being live streamed to YouTube, and our channel is YouTube at Technology Enhanced Learning at MTU. It'll be approximately 40 minutes long. There is time for Q&A at the end. At any time, you can put your questions into the Q&A feature on Zoom or into the live chat on YouTube. If we don't answer them immediately, we will respond to them at the end. Also, I will be doing demos. You'll be experiencing it more from a learner perspective today, but links will be provided that you can understand how to provide this to your class if you're interested. Is that all okay? Now, the topics that we're going to cover, I'll do a quick introduction on defining the terms. Then we'll look at Vevox in action, Zoom in action, and maybe have a chat about the advantages of different tools for focus, interaction, and collaboration, with some time, as I said, for Q&A at the end. Okay, so just to kick it off here, and to provide more focus, I'm going to stop sharing my video. So focus. As educators, it is our job to curate knowledge. There is so much information out there, and our job as educators is to curate that, highlight what is important for the student to learn so that they're able to understand it, learn it, absorb it, and then apply it. And as we think about focus, sorry, my PowerPoint. We can think of the focus on the materials, what materials you choose to provide, what information. So get rid of anything that's redundant. You could think about the focus that the presenter brings, their presenter style, how clear and how engaged and how present they are, so if a presenter is distracted and doesn't have everything to hand, it might draw focus away from the lesson. We also think about focus for the learner, what their level of attention is, and this could be affected by their physical environment, their mental state and makeup, stresses that they have on that day. When teaching online, it's harder to know how the learner is doing, but by creating clear structures And by interacting with the different tools that we have to interact with, you can make it a more engaging experience for your learners. So when we're talking about interaction, I'm talking about interaction between the presenter and the learners, and also between the learners themselves. It's really important to have interaction. It's motivating for the learners to have agency. It gives them a solid footing when they're getting feedback on how they're doing. And knowledge is a two-way street. As a lecturer, you don't need to carry the burden of knowing everything. You can also pass it over to the learners, get feedback, and gain perspectives from a lot of different places. Collaboration. Peer learning and collaboration can lead to higher level thinking, better oral communication, self-management, and leadership skills. It'll increase student retention and can increase their self-esteem and responsibility if handled correctly. So if you think of the, not acronym, PAIR, P-A-I-R, you're adding presence, accountability, inclusion, and reliance for your learners. Okay. So now I'm going to do a quick Vevox demo with you so that you can experience what it is like to have a poll. We're going to run a quick session. So if you do have a phone or a device, I will share, sorry now, my screen. Okay. So Vevox runs polls and quizzes. Sarah has done a super video on it in depth, which you can find at this link, which I will share at the end. When you're creating a poll, you can choose whether you want multi-choice, poll, word cloud, text wall. We will experience those in a moment. And if you choose custom settings for your poll, you can choose whether they're anonymous or not. Okay. So the polls we're going to do now will be anonymous. Sorry, now just 1 second there. I need to find where I put the poll. Okay. So if you would like to join this poll, you can join at the Vevox app using a QR scanner. You can also input vevox.app into your web browser and input the ID code 160443614. So I encourage you all now to use your QR scanner to join the poll, and you'll get to experience what it is like as a learner.
I've also shared the link in the chat if anyone wants to use that. There's a link directly to it in the chat.
Thank you, Sarah. Okay, so our first question. Finish the sentence with a 1 or 2 word adjective. Type your answer and press send. And you may respond multiple times. So learning is, what do you think learning is? And you can see this is coming up as a word cloud, and it's all very positive. This is great. And I encourage you to answer a few times just to build up our word cloud. Add more words that you think are appropriate. So in the top right-hand corner here, we can see that there are 8 participants and we've got 5 responses so far. With word cloud, the word that gets the most votes is coming up larger. You can choose with your learners whether they see the cloud at the end or they see it as they go. It can be interesting to see as they go, as that can give you ideas of what to do. Excellent. So learning is enriching, diverse, fun, important, engaging. It gives you new knowledge. It's stimulating. It's fun. You get to acquire and embrace knowledge. It's important and necessary and forever. Excellent. Thank you very much, everybody. So we'll go on to the next question. What is your teaching experience? So here I'm just giving an example of a poll. It might be checking in with your learners as to whether they've experienced a subject matter before. Okay, we've had 5 responses, so I think we could display the responses. Excellent. So we've got a very diverse group here, so I'm talking to a diverse range of people. That's wonderful. So now I know a little bit more about how to target my audience. And our next question is, so I'm going to do a quiz now. The quiz is serving to check learners' knowledge base. Please don't worry if you get this right or wrong, because it's fine if there's wrong answers. You can even go wrong deliberately in order to see what happens when you get it wrong. And again, all responses are anonymous. The reason to do a quiz is it can check knowledge for your learners. It can also help to aid recall of prior learning. So at the beginning of a session, you might want to use a quiz to get people to remember their prior learning. It's giving them a stronger basis into the class. It might also stimulate curiosity. Yes, well done, everybody. So we'll look at the answer. Cognitive faults, yes, 100% right. And Vevox will tell us the correct answer. Cognitive load refers to the mental effort required to process new information. So it does take an effort. This is why we are chunking and why we're trying to make things engaging. Next question. What does intrinsic load refer to? Distractions that increase the load? Linking new information with information already stored in the long-term memory? Or how complex the task is? So I will give you 30 seconds there. We have 8 people. And for the people who aren't doing this live, it's coming up as a multi-choice that you just tap on which answer you want. So it's a very quick way to be able to engage with the quiz. Excellent. And let's look at the results now. Super. So the correct answer is yes, it does refer to how complex the task itself is going to build up your intrinsic load. So if a lesson is high complexity, it already is using a lot of processing power. And we can see that 1/3 got it right, and my maths is terrible, but we can see Half responded, and that's how many got it right and wrong. So we got 50% correct responses. So, difficult enough question. What does extrinsic load refer to? How complex the task is? Distractions that increase the load? Or linking new information with information already stored in long-term memory? Super. Excellent. Thank you for joining in. You can see we have 5 respondents there. And if anybody else wants to join, please do click the QR code. So extrinsic load refers to distractions that increase the load. So already people are gaining the information. So your learner could be distracted by things at home. You really might want to make it easy for them to be able to take the information in and often repeat the information. Okay, and next question. Vevox also gives you the option to upload images, and you can do images and hotspots. So you can just click on the image somewhere there. Where do you think the prefrontal cortex is? Okay. And the app will tell you that yes, your vote has been received when you hit send, and you can always change your answer by hitting clear. Shall we see the results? Excellent. So we got to see where the correct answers were. We got to see where people were choosing. So as the teacher, I can get a sense of where people are in the class. And quizzes like this can help to stimulate curiosity. So what is the frontal lobe? It helps control thinking, planning, organizing, problem solving, short-term memory, and movement. Curiosity, did you know, fun fact, releases dopamine, which aids learning. It helps the frontal lobe to work. Next question, please. Thank you. So this is where we're getting into collaboration for the students. Again, if it's anonymous, they can put up their opinions, and it gives them a sense of what their peers are thinking, and it increases social engagement. So why is interaction important for students? Okay, brilliant. So it's keeping them interested, they get feedback, it helps them engage, it helps with engagement. Absolutely increases their attention levels in the class. And a higher percentage of information is retained when listening and reading and doing. Brilliant. Thank you. So it's really interesting there, as you're saying, the student isn't now just a passive absorber. They have agency and they can become involved in the class. And I think that's what Vevox can really, really help us with, is to give us that very quick engagement and room for collaboration. Excuse me. Okay. And I think that's our very quick demo of Vevox.
You want to show the Q&A as well?
Yeah, sure. So on your app there, is it showing it? On your app, over the MTU logo, there's an icon of a little house, and then there's also an icon of a speech bubble. So this is the Q&A function within Vevox. And if you want, you can type a message. So we have a test question coming up there. Excellent. So you're testing that the question works, and participant, I can give you your answer back. Yes, it does. People can like the question. If there's a number of questions, the more votes that question gets, the more it goes to the front of the queue. Okay. So the Q&A within Vevox can be a very handy forum for people to engage. How many questions should I put on a poll? How long is a piece of string? I don't know. We should actually try a poll with that, which leads me on actually to the fact that we're doing this as a live poll, but it is also possible to send out the poll as a survey. So for it to be not live, but sent out asynchronously, where you can get respondents to come back to you. Okay. Thank you. I'm going to stop sharing that now and go back to my PowerPoint. Thanks, Sarah. Okay.
I'll send out a link for Vevox training for everyone. I'll just put it in the chat now because I did training on it last week, if you want to know how to do all those things.
Excellent. Thanks, Sarah.
And Jane, I think you're sharing the wrong screen again. I can see your notes.
Thank
No
you.
worries.
Just, okay. Thank you.
That's it. Perfect.
Excellent. Now, so Zoom, what's the advantage of Zoom for learning? You can give a social presence. You are doing live sessions, so you can actually interact and talk to your learners, and they can get a sense of where you are. There's a danger with online learning that the students can feel isolated. So by being a real person there, it can help to alleviate anxiety and also increase their sense of being in the classroom. The chat function is also very good for checking in as you go with Zoom. So even as you're giving your lecture, you can just go, is everybody okay? Put a Y or an N into the chat. Do you have any questions? Again, you're just really checking in with the chat that people can interact. Okay, and I'm just checking my chat, but as Sarah is doing right now, she's sharing the links. So as you go, you can share the links with the chat and keep people up to date with any notes that you need. The share screen, you're probably all familiar with. It's found at the bottom of the Zoom interface, and this little green arrow here. When you share, when you're sharing between one screen and another, you don't need to stop share. You can just continue to hit the little share icon up top and swap from presenter view to your windows. So one tool that I'm going to show you today that you might not normally be familiar with is the whiteboard. So I clicked on share, and instead of screens, I can either go to documents or advanced and share the whiteboard. Okay. And what the whiteboard is good for, it's good for live drawing, annotation. You can import images, and participants can annotate, put sticky notes on them. With the new whiteboard, you can even have sessions for voting. They provide templates for learning, so it is well worth checking out. Let's go take a look at it now. Okay. So my whiteboard is just loading. This is taking a moment. And I will have an option as well to do a new whiteboard or to share other whiteboards that I have done before. So right now I'm going to go with a new whiteboard. Sorry, it's just flipped onto my other screen here. Okay, excellent. So we have a pen tool where we can draw, holding my shift key. You can change the color. Why might people's attention waver over an online session? Maybe the person is talking for too long. We can draw lines, the same thing again. Whoops, I'm just holding my shift key. Other reasons people's attention might get distracted is distractions in their environment. Okay. You can add in a sticky note. And for some reason, here we go. I need to drag it. Ways to help. Chunk the lesson. Provide breaks. Okay. So chunking your lesson, gaining attention where you can, maybe ways to help with somebody who is coming and going, being distracted away from the lesson is repeat elements. You can see very quickly, you have the various tools where you can create shapes, text, comments. You can also create templates, and you can upload images which you have already. And you can use a laser to highlight bits that you think are important to your lesson. Okay, so you might be a proper teacher and have proper graphs and just might go, well, look, this is a very interesting pattern that we're seeing at 3 minutes, 6 minutes, and 15 minutes. People are flagging and need a cup of tea. I'm just going to find another whiteboard that I had done already. Okay. Yeah. With this whiteboard, you should be able to access it. And I have a sorry, I'm going to create a voting session for this whiteboard. And you can vote 2 times. You can vote only 1 vote per object. And I'm creating a timer of 5 minutes. I'm selecting these objects. that you can vote on. Okay. So are you able to vote? Is that working? It might not because I ran this earlier. Sarah, do you know if you're able to vote?
I'm able to click on a picture. Is that voting?
Great. Yeah, it should be.
Yeah. I think it might just be panelists that can do it. I don't know.
Okay, sorry about that. Okay. Now, I apologize for this. I only demoed it by myself, and this is where, as a teacher, you really have to practice these things properly. But there is a feature where you can put up images and get students to vote for what they like. The way I was able to bring the images into the whiteboard is through importing images, and it gives me the stock image in the same way that PowerPoint does. The whiteboards can be shared asynchronously. So again, it is something that you can use in class and then share with your students later for creating collaborative lessons in a similar way to Miro. You can also add more pages to your whiteboard. And add templates. So there are ready-made templates that you can give. There's a huge amount of templates that you can provide to your students to do with ice breaking, with education, with lesson reflection, with the lesson plan. So here's an example of a lesson reflection that students can, participate in. Okay, so that was the whiteboard tool. How's everybody doing? I'm going to go very quickly for 5 minutes more, and then we will go to a Q&A. Okay, so back to my Q&A, my whiteboard. Share video. Videos are really useful for gaining attention, for stuff that you want to share that's been somebody else may have done it in a faster, brighter, or better way that you can find on YouTube. And it's a really handy way to share information. I'm not going to do that as a demo right now. Breakout rooms are really good for collaboration. If you want to learn more about breakout rooms, I recommend watching this video. So we can put this video into the link as well. It gives a full detail of setting up a breakout room and why it is useful. Breakout rooms are when you put students to collaborate together, 3 or 4 students in their own separate section to collaborate together. The advice for breakout rooms is to make sure that you're really doing SMART goals, that it's specific, measured, achievable, relevant, and time-based, so that they know what they need to achieve. Like give them a goal or a task that they can achieve by the time they come out of the breakout rooms, that it's clear. Also, if you're providing breakout rooms to students who don't know each other, allow that time that they might get to know each other. Okay. So that's my very quick demo in on Zoom and in on Vevox. Just to very quickly do a summary of why we're building the focus. We're trying to get focus materials, so you're providing relevant information with clear headers, discrete sections, consistent visuals, and a logical file system. Vevox and Zoom aren't the only tools. Canvas is super for organizing your files. PowerPoint, as I'm using here, and obviously my share screen, we are sharing the PowerPoint. I recommend, if you haven't seen them already, checking out the other videos provided by TEL in creating very clear and concise PowerPoint, Canvas, presentations. A focused presenter. Your presenter should be organized using clear speech, welcoming, and providing clear boundaries for their learners so that the learners know where they stand and what they can and can't do. And with your learners, you're using the tools, you're trying to use them in order to remove the stress and barriers for your students. So the reason we're using the tools is to create social presence. You're making a clear structure and rules, you're creating clear lines of communication, you're using multiple modalities and making sure that it is accessible for them. Also, learners' attention can drift. So you want to use tools that gain attention or give appeal. So it might be interesting graphics. It could be videos that are interesting. It might be by giving them more agency. So multiple modalities can help. I did a quick, if I just swap my camera here. You can use a document scanner. You can use a second camera. So why might learners' attention go?
And that's not your main screen at the moment. I think you need to switch,
Oh, sorry.
stop sharing the screen, I'd say.
Am I sharing this doodle?
Yeah, but I can only see it tiny because you're sharing your
Oh,
slides.
thank you. Yeah, I'll leave that now.
Perfect, I can see it now.
Thank you. So this is what NURBS will do for you. Okay. Learner anxiety, I should now put in presenter anxiety into that as well. So thank you, everybody, for your patience. The advantage of having tools is, should you suffer from presenter anxiety, that they also give you a backup and a clear structure to fall down on, so they can help both the learner and the presenter. Okay. I will just flip back now to the links, but I just wanted to say thank you very much to everybody. And do you have any questions and answers? How are we doing? Do we have any questions that we need to answer?
There's no questions yet, but we might wait a minute and check the Q&A in a minute to see if anyone has any.
Super. And we encourage anyone who's joining on YouTube as well. If you want to add anything into the comments, you're very welcome. I will just share now my links to the references. Okay. So further resources can be found on the TEL YouTube channel, which is Technology Enhanced Learning at MTU, or on the TEL website, www.tel.ie. tel.cit.ie. Look at the staff resources page for all help documents. And here we have a link to the references. So this is the link to the TEL Tool website. This is our video on how to use Vevox done by Sarah Pattison. And we have the full TEL training playlist here. And if you haven't seen them already, I do recommend the Designing Digital Content for All, Designing Engaging Visuals, and Designing Interactive Experiences with H5P, as well as Introduction to Canvas Learning, to find out more about the different tools you can use and how to lay them out. So I hope this was helpful, and thank you very much, everybody. If we've no questions, I think we will wrap up now.